Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm RJ Kerr, and this is Let's Write an Adventure. And today we are turning over a new leaf, beginning a new chapter. We're creating a new adventure. We've worked for, almost 30 weeks on the previous adventure, which really comes down to about 30 hours worth of work, which is not bad considering we did maps and everything for that. And we made a very in-depth sort of adventure with a lot of detail, a lot more detail than you would need to just kind of make for your own table to run and play. Now, um, so today it's time to start something new. And with that, we start the whole process over again, starting from brainstorming and ideation. And we'll be working our way towards the completion of another adventure. Um, I there's a couple of things I guess I want to say before we get started on this. You know, in relation to our previous adventure. The first one is that the amount of detail we put into that one is the kind of detail that you'd put into something that you're planning on publishing. And with that comes an additional step. You need to do some editing. I really encourage you to edit any adventure that you write, even ones that are just kind of off the cuff. You've seen me do the Dungeon Express kind of quickie adventures that we do on here, and then we'll continue to do on here. Even those are things that I edit before I run them. And editing doesn't mean that we're necessarily going through and looking for, if I missed any commas or, put a double space after a period or anything like that. Although it can if you're trying to publish something. But really, it's just looking for gaps in logic. You're really looking for places where things don't line up as they should, where things are, where you make leaps in logic that made sense at the moment, but then don't make sense when you go back and read it later. So you're really just kind of cleaning it up so that it's easier to run, and so you don't have any sort of weird anomalies when you get it to the table. I'm assuming that you all don't want to watch me do the editing process on that. It's long. It takes time for me to go through and do the whole thing. Happy to do it on here if you guys would like that, but I'm guessing you probably don't want to sit with me while I do things like, run spell check and to read through for grammar, and read it aloud because that's one of the things I do when I edit is I want to hear how it sounds, not just see the words. I want to feel them in my tongue. I want to hear them in my ear. I want to know how they kind of hit me when I do editing, and so it's a process. Happy to do a snippet on here at some point if you really kind of want to see that and how that goes down. Maybe edit a section as opposed to the whole thing, kind of get you through my workflow. And oh, look at that! One of my ring lights just decided that it's done working. All right, well, that is what it is. Um, but I'm assuming that you guys don't want the full throttle length on the editing process for this adventure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you want to see a portion of it, let me know. To that end, even if we were gonna do the editing process for that right now, even if we were going to, uh, you know, work, take that, if we even if we wanted to jump in and start carving away at the venture that we wrote and getting it polishing up into something that we might be able to publish, we wouldn't do that right now. We'd put it down for a while. You really want to put down anything that you've finished writing and that you want to edit, that especially for public consumption, especially something that you're going to publish. If you're going to say publish an adventure in the DM's Guild or something along those lines, you want to write it. You want to draft it. That is, you want to put it down on paper, and then you want to put it down for a week or more, ideally, and then come back and edit it fresh. And excuse me, I'm gonna unplug that light because that's frustrating. All right. Um, so yeah, so you don't want to try to edit anything that you've just finished writing. You want to kind of let your brain forget about it and then come back to it because you'll notice things that you didn't see before. You will see the adventure differently, and you'll find gaps that you I just didn't even realize were there previously. Now, for a little adventure stuff like the Dungeon Express kind of stuff that we do on the channel here, you know what? You don't necessarily need to wait a week. That kind of stuff is written so that you really could just throw it down on a table and go, because it's meant to be a little down and dirty, a little rough around the edges. But if you wanted to edit that and clean it up, I'd wait at least a day. I'd let yourself sleep on it, and then come back to it with fresh eyes. Um, anyway, those are kind of my little notes on editing that I wanted to put out here. Is just kind of a reminder that just because you've finished writing something doesn't mean that it's necessarily ready as a polished product. If that's what you're going for, if it's just for your table, you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But it's still worth giving another read through before you run it. So yeah, so that's really kind of what I wanted to touch on about our previous adventure before we get into writing this new one. And so, since we are going to be writing the new one here, I thought we might change things up just a little bit. Um, and instead of starting in our brainstorming in Notion, which is what we did before and is perfectly fine, I thought I might use a program that I use a lot for other writing projects, and I still use it for D&D as well. But I tend to use it for like my full-time job, which is writing, and that's Scrivener. And it's a writing specific program. It's not something you necessarily need to invest in if you want to get into writing adventures or anything like that. I just happen to really like it. Especially, I like that it has this feature where we can just kind of shut off everything on the screen and just have what we're writing down, which is really just kind of a clean way of brainstorming, I think, to kind of shut out all of those other distractions, formatting and all those little knobs that we can adjust when we're writing normally. And so I think we're just going to brainstorm on this nice, clean, beautiful, blank piece of black and white pixels and go from here. So today, if you are watching, I would love to hear from you if you have ideas for the kinds of adventures that or the kind of adventure you want me to write next. We've done kind of I don't know that I would call the Berg a classic dungeon crawl. I think it has a lot of cool sort of new elements in it, maybe too many of them. but uh, but point is we've done kind of a dungeony sort of thing. And maybe we want to write something else like that. Maybe we want to do something that's really classic D&D, almost to the point of being kind of old school. Something maybe we could convert to Shadow Dark if we wanted to do that. Maybe we want to write a mystery. Maybe we want to write something that's more like a spy thriller, or maybe we want to do horror or high fantasy or grim dark or something along those lines. If you have ideas, any ideas whatsoever, toss them in the chat, please. I would love to hear what they are, and we can incorporate those into the adventure if that works. Otherwise, I'm going to get to doing my own brainstorming here, and I will just keep an eye on the chat to see if there's anything that you all are tossing in there. So, something that I did today just to make sure that I didn't have a complete brain death when we got in here to brainstorm is I asked ChatGPT to generate for me a list of 100 unique ideas for D&D adventures, and it gave me It gave me a list. We'll see if they're any good, but something that we might be able to use is kernels to kind of germinate from. Uh, Brainstorming is a loose, sloppy process, as you probably have known and seen from when I've done this previously on the channel. And so we're going to be loose, sloppy, and just kind of let our whims take us where they go. When you are brainstorming on your own in private, using things like ChatGPT is a great tool. There's also some research out there to show that working somewhere that you have a little bit of background noise, like a coffee shop, especially if it's kind of that like inaudible voices, um, is been shown in some cases to help kind of spark creative thought. And there's a lot of professional novelists who do that kind of thing. A lot of professional writers in general who do that kind of thing. But for us today, since we are working from the comfort of my office, let us just give a couple rolls on this list here and see what we come up with, see what sparks us. So, first one up is 70, which on my list here is 70. The Celestial War. The heavens are at war, and the adventurers are caught in the middle. They must choose sides and fight for the fate of the cosmos. It's kind of a campaigny idea, but hey, you know what? Let's toss it in here. Okay. I'm gonna paste in match style because I get a little anal about that. All right, so that's one. Let's do three of them just to kind of see what jumps out at us. 27. The Walking City. A massive city on the back of a giant creature slowly traverses the world. The party must prevent it from stepping on other civilizations. That's a little color of magic, if you will. Not there's anything wrong with Terry Pratchett and the Color of Magic, and it's a good book. I very much enjoyed it. But maybe there's something in there that we can work with. And 46. Okay. The Blood Moon. A rare celestial event causes ancient werewolves to rise from their graves. The adventurers must stop them before they turn the world into a nightmare. Okay. Okay. Paste and match style. All right. So we've got three kind of ideas off the list here. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I necessarily like any of them as is. But that's okay. We don't need to like what we generated to start. That's kind of part of the thing about brainstorming, right? Let me bump up the text scale here. Let's see. Make that a little easier to read on your screen, I think. All right. So let's get our own free writing in on this. So the Blood Moon thing, and the Walking City. I like those in concept, like the idea of a city on the back of a giant creature, sort of slowly traversing the world. Blood Moon, rare celestial event. There's something there. I like the idea of a rare celestial event. I like that taking part in the story. Taking part in the story. I like maybe as a catalyst, but I'm not thinking zombie werewolves. That's not... Zombie werewolves not really speaking to me. But I like the idea of the Blood Moon. You know, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, they make an offhanded remark at one point about an adventure where or presenting your party with a tower that's made of moonlight or something like that. I forget exactly what they say about it, but it's a very kind of just like it's one of the examples of things, kind of off the wall ideas that you can use, and that's always kind of stuck with me. I like the idea of a tower that appears only in the moonlight, and maybe that's what we're getting here. Maybe we're getting a gateway into something that opens up under the Blood Moon. Yeah. So what if Blood Moon casts a gory moonlight and in a particular place at its zenith, it opens a doorway to our adventure. But where does that doorway go? I like that. I could envision our characters out somewhere. Um, maybe they're waiting for this. Maybe that's the whole thing, right? Maybe they've come here specifically to take part in this event. Maybe the hook is that this is, it's a once in a lifetime experience. One moment that they can capture and achieve glory, get riches, cave of wonders kind of thing kind of jumps out at me about this. But I don't think of it as a cave specifically in this case, right? I'm thinking it is a portal to another place. Not the Feywild, maybe the Shadowfell or something like that. I tend to lean towards some of the dark and the grim when I think about this kind of stuff. I like dark adventures. I think that it makes heroic characters that much more heroic when when all the world is darkness and they're a bright light. They just shine a little bit brighter. That's just me. Again, if you've got ideas, toss them in the chat. I would love to hear them. Always helpful to brainstorm as a group. Let's see here. What at the blood moon? So, okay. Where does the doorway go? To the Shadowfell? That doesn't feel quite right. Some place similar. Someplace more like the Upside Down, from Stranger Things. I don't want to do that. I don't want to rip off that because I'm not trying to run a Stranger Things game. Although that's cool, I would love to play in one. But I'm not particularly interested in DMing one. What? Wouldn't go to hell. The abyss. Some corner of the abyss. Or some plane of our own manufacture. I kind of like that. Invent our own plane. The adventure that takes place in there could have a lot more exploration. So what this plane look like? I think it's bleak. Weather worn. Filled with sense, decay, and of glory long since dead. There has to be a reason the characters would go there, though. It can't just be a horrible place. It needs to be a horrible place with something so alluring. Maybe it's a civilization that was wiped off the map, right? Maybe it was a I don't know if you're familiar with the Warhammer 40K lore, but I was thinking maybe about the Eldar, right? And that they had that whole issue in their lore where their culture became so decadent at one point that that it they actually created a chaos god that kind of almost wiped them out completely. And so maybe something along those lines, right? Maybe this was a powerful civilization, grew proud, decadent, angered the gods, and was pulled into this demiplane, doomed to rot, doomed to decay for the rest of eternity, um, but unable to actually collapse. Ooh, I, I like that. I like that. Okay. Um, Atlantis vibes. Yeah, Amanda, that does have some Atlantis vibes. Should we make this an underwater thing then? Should this be like a ghost ship kind of deal? Like, I've always wanted to do a full underwater campaign. I'm not gonna lie. After spending 10 years as a professional diver, like there's some spooky shit down there. Um, yeah. Hmm. I like that. I like that. Okay. All right, yeah, let's think about that. So Atlantis vibes. So creepy, time rotted, plane. It definitely needs some water in it then. I think even if it's not completely underwater, I think it needs a sea. Um, time rotted, a civilization that offended gods and helps so I could type and was wiped off the map, pulled out of existence. And doomed to live out their own decay and downfall for all eternity. This has got kind of campaign feel to it here, right? Not just an adventure. There's a lot that we could do in this than a place like this. But it needs a sea. It needs a sea. It needs ghost ships, wrecks, and weather-worn cliffs. Payne's Gray. I don't know if you're familiar with the color. Payne's Gray sticks out in my mind about this. It's like a color that I saw. I associate a lot with the sea, and I associate a lot with it feels right for this. It's that kind of bluish gray that that the sea kind of takes on, before a storm in the twilight. I kind of think there's a lot of gray, a lot of blues and grays, and muted cyans in a world like this. I can also kind of hear the gulls, right? I can hear that those seagulls picking off, picking at the dead, cawing, circling like vultures. Let's put that in. I can hear the gulls cawing above, circling like vultures, picking at the dead, washed up on a barren shore. Okay. Panes, gray, muted, blues, and cyans. All right. So kind of have this world. So what happens in it? Why are they here? What are the characters doing in a place like this? We'll build it out as we go. We can we can indeed craft a plane on vibes alone. Um, but we'll build that out as we go. But let's come back to that Atlantis vibes. I really like that comment. I really do. Because there was treasure in Atlantis, right? So there's treasure here. Maybe that's the pull. There's wealth and magic, perhaps beyond the wildest dreams, kind of beyond the wildest dreams of the characters, kind of thing to it. So let's come back. Let's recenter on Atlantis. So lost treasure, lost power, lost wealth, lost magic. So the party would be searching for something like that. A lost citadel, a lost city, something situated in this plane of decay. Okay. Party would be looking for that lost wealth and magic. They'd be seeking a specific location, buried somewhere on land or sea. That legend said is filled with treasure beyond reckoning. Because that's the kind of stuff that, you know, little kids that grow up to be adventurers are dreaming of, right? They want that. They want to discover what is lost and claim it for their own. There probably needs to be a keystone magic item in this, though. There probably needs to be a specific thing that that legend states, that legend and myth and fairy tales state exists in this place. So we need a keystone magic item. A bait. Just say bait to lure the characters in. A thing for them to seek above all other things. Maybe a thing that proves that they were where they said they were. It should still be it should still be a powerful magic item. But should it be sentient? Should it be infused with sort of the essence of this place? Or maybe should it be a lone light in the dark? Burning torch in this land of night and decay. It's probably a weapon or a shield or armor, something that has intrinsic mechanical value to the characters. Because you need to motivate the players. Like treasure really isn't for the characters, it's really for the players, right? And it only has value to them if it mechanically benefits them in the game in some way, shape, or form. Like, for gold to have any meaning, that you have to have ways to spend it in game that they can get boons or prevent banes. Same kind of thing for magic items. It has to help them in some way. And the things like sentience and personality just add flavor and make it more entertaining. But it still has to do a functional job. So it needs to be, let's see here. This magic item needs to be weapon or armor or shield, or an artifact of such power as to goad the characters into risky decision making. What if the armor or weapons is based on the people, civilizations that lived in this place, and that's what the people were known for? Yeah, I like that. Should definitely have that flavor to it. Yeah, yeah. So this magic item, it needs to have, yeah, it needs to have some essence of the civilization here. It needs to be reflective of that. And to that end, um, Amanda, I like that. If that's one of the things that they were known for here, their craftsmanship, and why wouldn't they be if they were a culture of incredible power? Um, yeah, then there's probably a number of weapons and armor and shields and what have you laying about that are of a unique craftsmanship, of a unique quality, that maybe have intrinsic power in some ways, even if it's just relative to this place. Yeah, that's something to chew on. Let's see here, and go the characters into risky decision making. Sorry, let me finish that sentence. Um, so the one problem with making this thing that they're looking for a specific weapon or armor is then it limits the characters who can use it, right? Um, because your wizard is less likely to be able to use a sword, pronounce that correctly, a sword than say your paladin or your fighter is. Um, so maybe it needs to be an artifact of some kind, something that's more universally useful. But there should still be, to your point, Amanda, there should still be um, quality weapons, armor, shields, that kind of thing that reflect the civilization here. That's a good, really, really good world building point. I like that. Um, Maybe that's really going to be the emphasis of this arc as we work on it, is that we're going to be doing a lot of world building as we create a plane of existence out of our own imaginations here. All right, so let's capture some of that here. Okay. The magic item needs to be a more generally useful artifact so as not to limit the player characters who can wield it. However, this civilization is marked for their skill and craftsmanship. Craftsmanship. There we go. There would be uniquely well crafted weapons and armor within the Lost Citadel, City, Empire, whatever it is, that reflect culture lost. Right? yeah, that sort of reflect the grandeur. Let's see, an echo of the grandeur that once made this civilization great. Hmm. Okay. All right. So, hmm, we probably need a lost city. The more that I think about it, all comes back to that Atlantis vibes, right? We need a lost city, um, because we probably need more than just a tower or a citadel. We need we need a much larger location to explore, to experience. Hmm. Okay. So we need a lost city. That's what this stream is about. That's what this stream is about, right? We're creating something big because we've got the time to do it here. All right. So we need a lost city, not a meager citadel. Well, that opens us up to a lot of different sort of locations in here, and it helps us. That gives us something to kind of latch onto because it means that we can create something that is not just a not just a dungeon crawl, right? You know, we've got something that has more exploration to it, and we could have a number of smaller kind of dungeons within this, building up to perhaps the perhaps entering into a central citadel. Okay, but maybe there's a citadel at the center of the city. I suddenly had a thought back to the whole because I can't get away from the idea that if we're doing Atlantis vibes here, and I really like that we need some water and it needs to be integral to the city. But I don't think the whole thing should be flooded. But maybe the city is kind of built on. I'm going to try to do this without hitting my microphone. It's kind of built into this sort of natural bowl, right? And so you have portions that are above the water line, and you've got the citadel in the center that is above the water line, and then you have a ton that is now flooded and is below the water. And so we have a sunken city element there, and we come up with reasons why the characters need to go down there. But we also end up with this um, they end up with the ability to travel on the surface of the water to get to a lot of different places within the city relatively quickly. Um, we could arm them with ways to breathe water, to do adventures where they are completely submerged for parts of it. We could do a lot with this. So maybe we aren't, gosh, maybe we're redefining this. Maybe we aren't writing an adventure. Maybe we're writing a campaign now. Um, you know what? Let's do it. I'm excited by this. This is cool. All right, so let's see here. The city is built on a large natural bowl with the citadel in the center. The bowl has become flooded, submerging much of the city with the outer ring, and the citadel jutting up above the water line. The citadel is protected in some way. Characters can't just head there or rather, they can't just enter the citadel straight away. They need to find other elements lost in the submerged portion of the city. Some reason for them to hunt through the places that are difficult to get to. Hmm. We've already kind of done the, you need 3 keys to access the door kind of thing in the Berg. And there's a time and place for that. And I think it worked there. I don't think that we want to do something that's quite like that here. Maybe the artifact isn't in the Citadel. So maybe they can get into the Citadel just fine. Maybe that's... Maybe they've got to hunt for it somewhere else. Maybe the Citadel is the only functioning part of this place. It's what now serves as, the only city that is that is functional. Maybe it's the only settlement that the characters can interact with here. Is in the ruins of the Citadel. So maybe it's, a town built up in the ruins of that citadel. Okay. Let's explore that. So, or maybe the citadel is accessible, but the artifact just isn't there. Maybe a functioning settlement now exists. Okay, I can't spell today apparently. There we go. Exists in the ruins of the citadel. So maybe it serves as a home base from which characters make excursions into the sunken city and the city ring. That surrounds Bowl. The city itself would be in ruins. The parts that aren't the citadel populated by monsters. Yeah, we could have multi-level here. I could imagine Suhuagin populating parts of this, especially the submerged portions, places where the populace was transformed. Parts that aren't the Citadel populated by the monsters. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is going to be a campaign. We're going to need multiple levels in it. Multiple adventures. Okay. So, yeah, I think we've got something that we can really work with here. We're going to need to develop a city fully with districts and, factions at play. We're going to have to come up with a number of adventuring sites within this city, but they can be smallish ones. It might be a good way to showcase a couple different, for us to kind of explore a couple different styles of adventures. We weave our way through this. Yeah. And we're going to have to build out some of the dangers of this plane. Because it needs to have something a little otherworldly about it, doesn't it? It needs to have. We need to do some world building elements that show the both what the civilization was like, but also what this plane is like now, what this pocket dimension is like now. Um, we're very rapidly building our own little domain of dread here, aren't we? Yeah, I like it. I like a domain of dread. Okay, so let's envision this as a domain of dread, uh, where characters are searching for a lost artifact among the ruins of this once great, now broken civilization. And I know we've kind of said that throughout, but that's kind of our summary statement here, right? That's kind of what we're working with. We just need to figure out what this artifact is. We don't have to know that tonight, but we have got to figure it out before we finish this. I really like this. I really like this idea because we can do a number of things with this. This gives us a lot of tools to play with, from standard kind of dungeon crawls to mysteries to raids to heists to underwater exploration. We can get the characters in environments that they probably haven't really done much adventuring in because let's be honest, there just aren't a lot of truly underwater adventures out there. We can have some like combat on ships. Yeah, I can imagine a we're gonna call it a road warrior at sea kind of faction. I mean, bandits, pirates, that kind of deal. And yeah, that threaten all who sail. Let's see here. So, Amanda, the artifact breaks the curse, imprisonment of the people who made the gods mad. Yeah, we could save the people. We could be heroic, triggered by the blood moon. Yeah, yeah, we could be heroic with this. Yeah, could start. Ooh, that's a cool little twist. I like where your head's at on that. So we start out right being selling this artifact is this thing of enormous power that the characters can collect for their own selfish motivations, and then while they're actually in the campaign, discovering partway through as kind of our midpoint twist that the artifact is actually the thing that keeps the people trapped here. That it is the key to saving everybody here. So, yeah, I really like that. Gosh, you're coming up with some really good ideas today. Well done. All right. Yeah, let's get that. Let's get that down. Okay. The artifact is originally what? Why the originally sold to the characters or sold to the characters as a magic item of incredible power that they can find and take for their very own. Standard adventurer kind of stuff. But halfway through the adventure, characters discover the artifact is actually the key to freeing all those trapped in this realm. Flips them from selfish to selfless motivations. Hopefully. Okay. Or the opposite side, the artifact actually helps the gods finish the jobs they couldn't wipe these people off the face of the planet years ago. We could give them that choice. Yeah. So give them the choice that it's that it's it's the red light green light kind of thing, right? They got the artifact and they can either use it to save everybody and give this place a second chance, or they can just say, you know what, this place is evil and it shouldn't exist, and they can terminate it. I like that. Decisions like that are the kind of thing that great campaigns are made of. Ooh, that's good stuff. That's really good stuff. Okay, so let's capture that here. Alternatively, characters could choose to use the artifact to destroy this domain of dread once and for all. Save people and give them a second chance, or protect the material plane from the evil that dwells here. Dun dun dun. I like that a lot. That's a good climactic question, right? That's something that we tease out about halfway through when they find out the truth about this artifact. And then the climax, they have to make the choice. They have to decide. Do they save the world or end it? Yeah. Okay, so that means we have our, let's see here, our exposition is going to be find the uber powerful artifact because you want it. All right, then we get some rising action, and then we get to the midpoint twist. We say, discover the artifact has the power to either free the people of this domain or destroy it and eliminate all the evil within. Then our climax, characters must decide which path they will choose. Save the realm and risk it falling back into its evil ways, or destroy everyone in it and protect the material plane from its taint. That's good. Yeah, that is that's the kind of good story questions that make for great campaigns. I am a big fan of that. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, that kind of brings us to our time anyway. That was really fruitful. I mean, I'm I'm always amazed. I know I've done this a million times, but I'm still always amazed how you can sit down with a blank piece of paper or a blank computer screen and start with really nothing but three bad ideas. Because let's be honest, those first three ones were not real winners as they stood, but take from them kernels of things that grow into something just absolutely awesome, especially when you have cool people helping you brainstorm, which is always makes the process better and more fun. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate you specifically, Amanda, for chiming in, and everybody else for watching and tagging along as we work through the brainstorming on this process. So, thank you again for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. All that stuff really helps the channel, helps me grow, uh, gets me in front of other people. Uh, if you enjoy the kinds of adventures that I create and the way that my brain works in this, come play an adventure with me at startplaying.games/GM/RJ Kerr, spelled just like my name. You can see my ongoing campaigns that I've got up there, and I've got some more one shots that'll be coming up here in the future if you want to jump in for one of those. So, thank you again. I will pick up next Monday and we'll actually start writing this behemoth of a campaign that I think is going to be so much fun to create this world from scratch. So thank you again so much, and I look forward to checking you all out again on Monday. Talk to you then.